Welcome to Our View with Lorrie Hull Smithers. I am the host and producer of Our View, Lorrie Hull Smithers. And I wanted to also mention the show that I did with my husband, William Smithers, for 7 years on the station called SB-Just Between Us, because that comes up on the internet and it goes all over the world, and the shows from the station, and we've had over 1,000 hits every month. So I am very pleased today to welcome to the show Erik Davis. Welcome, Erik.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Well, it's an honor. Erik is the executive director of this station, TVSB.TV. And I am honored, Erik, to be on this show. And I've had guests all the way from Vince Bugliosi to Cousteau. And Cousteau's going to be on again soon. He was on before and has wonderful clips of the ocean and the ocean's contribution to the climate and the earth. And he is scheduled to be on a second time with his wonderful clips. But I am so pleased that with this station, the guests and myself are able to have open and honest conversations without fear of reprisal. And I've had politicians, city, state, national, world, and I've had people from the arts world, particularly theater and movie people, which is my background in teaching acting. And so, again, thank you also for giving me, at your awards benefit, the Legacy Award.
Absolutely. You know, it was a really honor to get to know your story and how long you've been doing this at Community Access Television. 25 years, I gather.
Yes.
So the story is we were driving down to a conference in Long Beach, and Mark Melson, who's been with the station a long time, started.
And he's the wonderful director of the show.
The director of the show. He starts telling us the story and the history of you and your husband alive after 65 when you weren't quite 65.
Right.
And now the entire history. And so it was a no-brainer for us to just salute you at the 2019 Media Awards, which we held in late February this year.
February 23rd.
There you go, with
right.
the Legacy Award. And we have one of the awards right here.
Yes, thank you.
And
it's in my living room.
And you were the star of the show.
Well, thank you.
You even made the cover of the Santa Barbara News Press the following day.
And this was such a surprise to have my picture on the front page of the Santa Barbara News Press. And the news director, Nick Mazzuda, is that his name, was sitting right in front of me. And I said, can I have a copy of what you're shooting? Because he had a camera and was shooting it. He said, well, give me your address. And lo and behold, a few days after this came out, and I was aware of it, in my mailbox came a copy, and Nick had dropped it off at my house, which was wonderful.
That is really wonderful, and you never know what's going to get covered. Nick was there, and obviously had a premonition about the lead of the story if he was asking for your address. But you were, do we have a clip that we could start with and kind of take a look at that show?
Oh, that would be good, Mark. I was honored to receive this award from TVSB, and I thank you, and I thank you, Mark Melson. Mark asked me to give a short talk, and I promised I'll keep it short. To start with, over 25 years ago, when I started as co-host of the show Alive After 65, I was younger than 65. And I thought to myself, gee, 65 is really old. And now still doing a show at age 90 and a half. I am pleased to report that I think 65 is very young. When I came to Santa Barbara, I thought I was going to retire from teaching acting and writing and so forth. And instead, I found TVSB and TVSB found me. And I am deeply grateful. But this show and TVSB can only exist in a country where people have the right to express themselves without fear. Thank you. When I was walking back to my seat, Das Williams, the state representative, went like this.
Well, it was clear. It was really, really the highlight of the night.
Well, thank you.
One of the things that a lot of people didn't know was the history of TVSB in this community.
Yes.
And the 45 years of delivering, the service to Santa Barbara.
Yes.
And the night opened with Ira Opper, who took us on a little journey about the opening in the 70s and early 80s.
That was so interesting. That was wise of you to have that. Now, Mark, don't you have another opening here that I haven't seen because I was walking up the steps that you could play of the different openings of shows? We'll just talk until it comes up and then we'll stop talking. Welcome to Our View. I am Lorrie Hull Smithers. Today I am honored and pleased to have with us, who is also a special friend of mine and colleague. This studio and myself are honored and delighted to have as our guest Judith Smith Meyer, Katie Laris, Rod Latham, Sarah Miller McCune. Welcome, Sarah. Oh.
So that's the first time seeing that.
That's the first I'd seen that, right, because I was so busy walking with my cane up to the stage.
So we had some opening clips like that for a number of our award recipients. I forgot how many we had, but the Legacy Award was the top honor of the night, and we couldn't be more pleased to have you there and then to receive that award. And the words you said were just so poignant, especially for me. I love how you found TVSB and TVSB found you.
Well, it's been just a joy for the guests and myself to be able to have this open, honest conversation on TVSB because I've been able to interview political people, city, state, national, world, as well as artists, like Laura Dern's mother, Diane, and other artists, Margie, who's the head of the Arts Committee in Santa Barbara. And I've just been able to interview so many interesting people. And Bill and I also were able to do so in Just Between Us, which is SB-Just Between Us. And we keep getting hits constantly, over 1,000 a month on the internet for that.
That is wonderful.
And that was filmed here, right?
So how did you get started? You'd mentioned retirement coming to Santa Barbara.
Yes.
Did you just fall into?
Well, I taught for Lee Strasberg for, I think it was about 12 years in Los Angeles. I was his senior faculty member teaching acting and directing. And then when I retired, my daughter Diane Hull and I taught in Santa Monica, and we taught acting and directing. And then I retired again to Santa Barbara. And that was when I started interviewing people, because the Alive After 65 show was interested in theater and movies and asked me to be the co-director. Now, I was out several times with hip operations and femur operations, but I always came back to do the show. Now, what about you, Erik? Are you a Santa Barbara native, or what is your background?
Well, I wasn't born in Santa Barbara, but I've been here since I was 5 years old. So I consider myself, I wasn't born in Cottage Hospital, so a lot of the real locals don't give me that. But no, I've been a part of this community for a while. I grew up here and went through high school. I went to college at San Diego State, so I was down in San Diego for a 10-year period studying broadcast journalism and working as a reporter and in marketing and writing. And was very fortunate to get back here in right around the year 2000.
What did you do before you became executive director of this station?
Well, the prior 13 years I was at Pacifica Graduate Institute.
Oh.
Up there out in there's one in Carpinteria and one in Montes. It's a graduate school in psychology, and we were doing a lot of work in video. We were taping lectures, doing live broadcasts, and we were really able to grow the reach of the Institute through broadcast medium and telling stories. And that's always been a passion of mine is storytelling. And so I found this little gem here at TVSB as we were looking for places to, to rent equipment, to broadcast, to host productions, and connected with the previous executive director, Matt.
Yes.
So we stayed in contact over the years, and he had left and reached out to me and said, I thought, this might be a good fit for you, and it has been. It really has been so wonderful, just to meet the people that come through here, as you mentioned.
Yes.
The diversity of guests, the diversity of people that come through that little front door is just extraordinary.
I think I interviewed Diane Ladd when Matt was here. That was before you were here. But I've interviewed many wonderful people. Vince Bugliosi we interviewed twice because he was so interesting. He wrote Helter Skelter.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, so, and then I started, I think, as executive director in November 1st, 2017. So it's been about a year and a half. So.
And it's our pleasure that you're with us, because you've done a lot of great things for this station. People you've brought in, and you've started many new shows too, and they're all so interesting.
We have, yeah.
Yes.
We've had a lot of new shows over the last year and a half. Everything from Man on the Street to basketball to cooking to just the whole wide variety of polo life. But what we've tried to do also as the local community access station is just get out in the community more,
right,
too, and really push out into Santa Barbara and cover some of the old untold stories, to reach out and work with the many nonprofit organizations. And right now we're gearing up for summer camp, so we're going to do 3 sessions of summer camp.
And what are the ages that you take in summer camp?
So it's delightful. So the youth camp are ages 8 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, for the first time, we're going to launch a teen summer camp. And so that'll be 13 to 18. So they're a little more advanced. A lot of these kids have come through our youth programs.
The 8 to 12 program.
Yeah, and they stick around. They come back every year because they love it. And now, so they were requesting a more advanced class as they aged out of that, so we decided to embrace that. But it's just so nice to see the youth come through here.
Oh,
and
yes.
what they do on video nowadays is just extraordinary.
I have done 2 videos, the Method 1 and the Method 2. And Mark, the director of this show, put together from the Method 2 a show, which is also running on TVSB. If they go to tvsb.tv and press On Demand,
Mm-hmm.
and on demand, the shows are listed in alphabetical order. So our view, is quite far down the list, but it is on the show. And there's so many interesting shows. There's this older man who does a show on health. You probably know his name. I forgot his name, but he's been here a long time, and he does many interesting shows on people's health.
Are you talking about Bob?
Yes, Bob.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting
No,
too.
and he does a show every single week.
I know.
It's really amazing. We have a few of those content creators that are here every single week because they just
Bill
love it.
and I, when we first started with Just Between Us, we were every week too. And now when you bring Just Between Us up on the internet, at the left is a directory where people could, go to wherever they want. But after all my operations, I would just as soon not do it quite as often. And Mark, the director, has been wonderful about, just running a show for, sometimes, I think this will run for 2 months. And then I'll do another show again in May. Probably Cousteau, if he's back in the country.
I know, when you said that, either Cousteau or me, I'm like, wow.
You're a terrific company here.
I thought that was fun.
And it's so wonderful, the Clipsy shows,
Yes.
of the ocean and the ocean's contribution to climate and the earth. And I'm looking forward to him being on again, too.
About 3 years ago, I was able to go out on the Double Dolphin with him here in the Santa Barbara Channel.
Terrific.
And cruise up the channel and hear his stories. Now that's some great story. He has a world of treasure.
Oh, he does.
And a legacy with his family.
His father threw him in the water. But he told that the first time he was on. I won't ask him to repeat it. And what about you? Do you have a wife? And what does she do?
I do. My wife is named Angelique. We've been married going on 14 years here.
Wow.
So, yeah, I met her when I moved back. We met when I moved back to Santa Barbara. And she'd come from Dallas at the time and met shortly thereafter. She works in marketing and technology and customer success here in town. So, yeah, we were pretty active in the community, out and about quite a bit. And, she's involved with the Courthouse Legacy Foundation. We're both active in Old Spanish Days Fiesta. And
oh, yes.
so we really enjoy Santa Barbara. And this station has just been such a delight to be a part of that because you meet the people, you get to tell the stories. And then the history of this little gem of a community access center.
Yes.
It's been.
We've had the presidents of Old Spanish Days on, interviewed, and including Cousteau. He was president one year. And it's always very interesting, the background of Old Spanish Days.
Yes, it's 95 years old this year. So it dates back to, the early 20s when they were trying to bring tourism here. Mm-hmm. And a couple were missed due to fire and flood and drought. But it's part of the fabric of the community.
Right.
And we're just ramping up, I think, the Spirit of Fiesta auditions where they choose the Spirit and Junior Spirit of Fiesta are a week and a half away. So that's always really electric.
My husband was a judge for that once.
Oh, really?
They asked me to do it. I said, why don't you have Bill do it? He really enjoyed it. He thought the young girls trying out were so talented.
They really are. They really are. Where there's two age groups, and the level of dance in this town is really second to none in California, at least.
And I have taught private acting lessons here in my living room, and I remember one of the girls auditioned for, the Spirit of Fiesta, and I remember we worked on her speech
Yes.
in the acting class that I taught her. So, what else would you like to tell us about the station or yourself?
Well, I just wanted to reflect a little bit on that fabulous night that we had at the Alcazar Theater.
Oh, it was wonderful.
We had a sold-out crowd, and it was just so warm. As Erica and Mark can attest, we were doing a rehearsal, and you probably would have some insight into this. We were doing a rehearsal Friday night, and it was an empty theater, and we didn't know if there'd be any energy or electricity in the room. In fact, I'm going, what is going on? We need some excitement. And so we played with lighting, and we played with some walk-up music to try to bring that. But when I got on stage, that place was just alive with energy and electricity that I had never seen.
And it was packed.
It was really packed. We had media there. We had producers. We had longtime members. I think we had the mayor of Santa Barbara. We had the mayor of Carpinteria.
Yes, Kathy Murillo was there. We've interviewed her, and we interviewed the mayor before her, Helene.
Yes.
Right.
And we had a couple of county supervisors. I think there was...
Das Williams was there.
Yes.
I told how he went like this to me after I talked.
I think you brought the house down, too.
That was terrific.
That was really such a highlight to be able to share those stories and hear the diversity of all that the diversity of story within a little studio like that.
Yes.
I probably honored close to 15 people, and they all had something different, talking about the only Spanish language broadcast in all of Santa Barbara, to new content, to people that make content every week, to some people like yourself who have been doing it for 25 years. It's just absolutely extraordinary.
And I was so pleased that it was it Nick Mizuda?
Yes.
That he was sitting right in front of me.
Yeah.
And he put it in my mailbox, and then he wrote on the back, "Congratulations, Lorrie," on the back of my copy.
So we've taken a lot of the photos from that night, and we've put them up around the station, as you can see.
Terrific.
And, we're still kind of living off that high of that night. That I know the members have been energized, and I think a lot of the government officials kind of really see the value in the free speech and what we do for the community, working with the kids, working with the nonprofits. It was really a showcase for TV Santa Barbara.
Yes, and I've just been so pleased that TVSB has been such a wonderful showcase for honest conversation between my guests and myself, without fear of reprisal or without fear, which I said in the speech, because you've contributed so much to the life here of Santa Barbara.
Well, we just provide the container, but it's people like you and the producers who, tell the stories, that want to get on camera and share, and have that open dialogue, because that's what we're here for.
Right.
To foster real conversation.
Without fear of reprisal.
Yes. I asked you what your favorite part was before we were on camera, and you had mentioned that.
Yes.
And I think we saw that in your clip, too.
Yes. I think we have just about 4 minutes left. Is there anything in particular you'd like to tell our viewing audience?
Well, nothing that I'd like to tell, but I would like to hear, can you take us in that few minutes, your kind of journey through TV Santa Barbara?
Can I do what?
Take us through like your 2 or 3 shows and the evolution that...
Oh, yeah. Well, I started with Alive After 65, and as I said in the speech, I was so surprised, but I was younger than 65, and now I'm older than 90. And then my husband and I did a show for about 7 years, and that was SB-Just Between Us, and people bring that up on the internet. And the story of my life is even up there under Smithers. And you could go to the left, a yellow slot where you could bring up all the shows that Bill and I did for 7 years that goes all over the world.
Yes.
And then when Bill retired, I decided to do the show alone. And so now I'm the producer and host of Our View with Lorrie Hull Smithers.
And what was Just Between Us? What was the topic of that show?
Anything of interest. We interviewed both the mayors, Kathy Murillo. We interviewed Hannah Beth Jackson. I think that was the show that did Vince Bugliosi, who was a helter-skelter writer and was the one who got the Manson family in jail. And anything that we thought would be of interest to people of Santa Barbara. Sometimes Bill's interest was different than mine, and that was okay. I was more for theater and movie people, and he was more for just politics in general. And so we interviewed Lois Capps, we interviewed the man who replaced her, and anything that we thought would be of interest to people of Santa Barbara.
So you've had a wide variety of guests. And,
yes, we have.
And quite a track record of community service over these 25 years. And
well, thank you.
we're just so grateful that you found TV Santa Barbara, and TVSB found you.
And I enjoy meeting all these people, yes, too. Vince was a friend of my daughter's, so that wasn't any problem. But I think this is the end of the show, and thank you, Erik.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege being on, and thanks again for all you do. You've
been a great addition, and you've done good work here.
Thank you.
You and my director, Mark Melson. Is that the end of the show? I think it is.